This is Gerardo Del Real with Resource Stock Digest. Joining me today is the president and CEO of Medallion Resources, Mr. Mark Saxon. Mark, how are you today?
Gerardo, good afternoon. Doing very well over here in Australia, and I hope you guys are doing fine in the US as well.
We are doing, that is for sure. It's been an interesting week, as I'm sure you've been able to observe from far, far away. It's probably better observed from far away than it is to experience here, but interesting times nonetheless.
Absolutely, and I'm sure looking backwards, it all works out fine. But yeah, a few lumpy weeks to get through, obviously.
Interesting times for sure. You had some news on the assessment front that, of course, is always a mouthful. Let me read the headline. It reads, Medallion commences techno-economic assessment of proprietary rare earth element extraction process. A lot of very, very detailed information in the release. I would love for you to provide an overview. The last time you and I spoke, we talked a bit about how Medallion had identified the Gulf Coast here in the U.S. And I joked, of course, that Austin is becoming quite popular with the Teslas of the world and the Gigafactory and the processing facility. And so we are attracting a lot of business here. But this release kind of sets the table for the next steps. Can you give us an overview, Mark?
For sure, Gerardo, and I appreciate it's certainly a mouthful, and I'll give you some of the reasoning behind that, I suppose. And so, yeah, Medallion is listed on the TSX and also the OTCQB, where we trade as MLLOF, so keep an eye out for that one. So the press release describes a techno-economic assessment or study, and I guess that's the reason for using that language instead of the usual PEA, PFS, feasibility study language that gets used in Canada is that the study doesn't connect to any individual resource. So it's not about opening a mine, it's not about a single resource in a single location. But this is about a study of an entire process that can be used in any location. And as we talked about last time, yeah, we've had a look at the Gulf Coast as a great place to roll out the first example of that process facility. But we're also looking at other places around the world. So it's about understanding the economics of a process. So think of it more, I guess, as a very small chemical factory that's taking a rare earth mineral as a feedstock and putting out high-value rare earth products on the back end as the products. And so, yeah, it's a little different to the normal, I guess, the TSX story where it's associated with mining. This one is a little bit unusual, and yeah, obviously it takes a bit of different branding and wording to explain that properly.
Now, this is years in the making. I understand you've engaged an engineering consultancy firm.
That's correct. And so what we're doing is a group out of Perth called Simulus. So they're looking at all the technical data that we've developed over the last 5 years and essentially bringing it down, as these studies do, into sort of very hard numbers and very hard engineering and design. And so that will tell us the economics of the process we've developed in an external standalone fashion. So obviously we do that continually ourselves internally, but the external control is important for us. And it also will help us guide on the few little steps that we need to complete going forward and the places where we don't have enough information to sort of really understand the costs or the chemical requirements or the markets. And so, yeah, the same as a pre-feasibility study, for example, it tells you what you know and it identifies what you don't know as you move forward. But the process that we have developed, which is called the Medallion monazite process, and yeah, I guess that's it captures what we're doing is we take the mineral monazite and we process it into heavy rare earth metals. So it's materially complete. We understand most of the moving parts, I guess, in that process, and so we're not many steps away from really achieving a process that can give rare earth security for a very long time.
Now, this assessment specifically looks at the capital and operating cost estimates for an extraction facility. Is that right?
That's correct. And so the model here is for 7,000 tonnes per year of monazite. So monazite, is a rare earth mineral. It's about 60 or 65% rare earths in that mineral. The monazite today that we'll be accepting is from mineral sand mining operations. So mineral sand mining operations, there's a few that operate in the US and many in Australia, many in South Africa and other parts of Africa. They are opened to produce zircon for zirconium, and ilmenite or rutile for titanium. In all of those deposits, they also have as a byproduct mineral sand monazite. At the moment, either that is sold into the Chinese market or it goes back into the pit and is not used. And so our focus is to acquire that material and use it for our rare earth extraction. So on the upstream side, so we're considering where we receive that monazite from, which we've engaged with Talaxis to do that for us, a very large trading company that's already trading in monazite. On the downstream side, we're looking at separation partners and who we should spend most of our time working with, and who has the core technology that we need to add the next levels of value in the rare earth supply chain.
And are you looking to engage multiple partners, Mark, or is this something where you're looking for a partner to do a thing in an area, just one place? Because I know in the past we've talked about how transferable the technology is, right?
It is, and I guess, we can see it as a process that we can lift up and put into many locations around the world. And I guess the technology is both transferable and scalable. So the rare earth market outside of China at the moment is modest in size, but growing quickly. So the process that we've developed is able to scale as the market grows. And so we certainly see ourselves as having our first operation, say the Gulf Coast is a great location, maybe one in Australia, maybe one in Africa as well, makes sense for us. But I guess we've been looking at the next stage, which is the separation stage. And we would like to have a process that I guess can move with us to each of those locations and to give the customers of rare earth metals sort of a complete supply opportunity. We haven't yet picked a winner, I suppose, and who that should be. We've looked at, I think, now 20 different technology options and I guess drop those into different clusters of technology styles. And we're looking more deeply at sort of 3 or 4 of those now to better understand how well they fit with our process and whether we should partner with them and whether the business models between the two sides can work appropriately.
I see the assessment is scheduled to be completed in the first quarter of 2021. Are you hoping to have identified partner or partners by then, or will you wait until you have the assessment in hand to make that decision or announcement?
Yeah, I think the timelines will be quite similar. So at the moment, we're having very material discussions with those separation partners, and really it's very deep technical considerations. And for me as a geologist, I'm very happy to be drawing on very much smarter minds than myself to be understanding the technology readiness levels, the risks and rewards, I guess, in each of those processes. So I would see that delivering for us in January next year. So similar timelines to the TEA.
Fantastic. Mark, anything else you'd like to add to that?
No, I think that's perfect. And please, if anyone is interested, get in touch with the company and myself, and we're very happy to talk about what we're doing. But we're ticking boxes on many fronts at the moment, and so I think we've had as good a year as we had hoped for with COVID aside, and moving the process along very well.
Agreed. And I encourage everyone to go to the website. That's medallionresources.com. A lot of really neat information on multiple subjects. So medallionresources.com. Mark, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Gerardo. Keep on.